Are the Chicago Bulls legit title contenders in the East in 2021 by trading for Nikola Vucevic? Let's talk about it starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video, please subscribe to the page, because we do talk Chicago sports weekly, pretty much daily, and we don't want you to miss a thing, so make sure that you hit that bell. Now, I'm pretty sure all of us were losing our minds yesterday when we heard the news that Vucevic was coming to Chicago. But the question on the table for me is, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? We got a legit second all-star in here, and I'm glad to see that the Chicago Bulls, a.k.a. Mark Eversley, Acme, are making moves towards pushing this team in a direction that is at a minimum trying to get them playoff bound, at a minimum trying to show their superstar, hey, we want to win with you, we want to win around you, and so we're going to put pieces in place around you to win now. But are they going to be able to do that? Are they going to be in that win now mode? Are they going to be able to go into the 2021 playoffs and be legit title contenders? And I know when you're looking at it, when you're looking at the moves they make, you know, Vucevic, of course, that's a nice one. Al-Farouq Aminu, Daniel Tice, getting him back. You're looking at it and you're like, all right, you know, that's nice, Pat, but that's not a title contender. It's not a title contender. I think you have to look at the definition of word. For me, the definition is essentially top 4 team in the East. Now, do I think that the Bulls are going to go out there and dominate Brooklyn night in and night out? I can't say that. There's a lot of stars over there. The Bulls are a long way away, and they have to get these pieces to work together. But when I look at this Bulls team, can this Bulls team be a top 4 team in the East? That's the question that I'm asking right now. And then when I'm looking at the top 3 teams, you're looking at Philly. Philly is up and down just based on the fact that Embiid has been hurt right now. So I think that they're a little bit vulnerable, but when they get Embiid back, that's a tough matchup. That's a tough matchup. But now the Chicago Bulls going out and addressing their biggest issue that they had versus Philadelphia, which was the center position. Now, I'm not saying Vuce is going to go out there and dominate Joel Embiid, but I think that they can have a little bit of a back and forth at least, and it's not just 50 on one side, 0 on the other. They're sitting at the number 1 seed right now in the East. The number 2 seed is the Milwaukee Bucks, who I absolutely think are vulnerable right now. That's a team you can attack. I'm sorry. And then you have the Brooklyn Nets at 3, who have been injured all season. No Kyrie, no KD for a good chunk of games, and James Harden has really been handling the load on his own. And now they're kind of starting to get things back together, hoping to get cohesive before the playoffs start. But now you get into that 4th spot, right? You get into that 4th spot, and you have to realize the Bulls are sitting 10th in the East right now. But that 4th spot is now occupied by the Charlotte Hornets, who I think will also come back to earth a lot based on the fact that they lost LaMelo Ball for the season. That's a tough blow. That's a tough blow. But I look at this Charlotte team and I'm like, okay, I think their spot is up for grabs. Who's going to be able to get it? To me, Atlanta got better, Miami got better, Chicago got better. Those are the 3 teams that got better, but who is the best out of there? You want to say instantly off your mind, you're like, Miami, better pedigree, got a championship swagger, went to the finals last year. They're probably going to get back into that spot. But I would say don't be so quick to assume that Miami's just going to be able to jump back in. And the thing that we have to realize about that 4th spot is definitely up for grabs, because from 4 to 10, where the Bulls are sitting right now, there's a 3-game difference in the East. There's a 3-game difference in the Eastern Conference. And so to me, there's really 2 scenarios where the Bulls could actually be title contenders this season. And by that, I mean a top 4 seed in the East. Now, before I continue with the video, I want to know your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think the Chicago Bulls can be title contenders this season? Let's talk about it. I'll be down there in the comments with you as well. The first scenario to me is we do leapfrog everybody, right? We end up just outplaying what was expected for this season. Based on the moves that we make, we end up becoming a better team. I think that our bench has been holstered up. I think that our starters are now set. I think you're going out there with a lineup of Sato, Zach, P. Will, either Thad or Lowry. I think Lowry in the beginning, but if the defense doesn't work out that way, probably Thad ends up coming back into that starting lineup. And then you've got Vuce, of course, at the center position. Is that enough to get you into that 4th spot? And I would say that I believe that it is, because I think that with that lineup, you've solidified enough on your starting lineup. Your question mark is still Lowry, but on your starting lineup, offensively for sure, but even a little bit defensively, because the biggest hole you had defensively was the fact that your center was not able to really play a competitive style of basketball inside. And I think that changes a little bit with Vuce in there. I think that his defense will even improve a little bit coming here to Chicago. Not to say that he's a bad defender. I think he's more of an underrated defender. He's not somebody that's going to go up and snatch shots away and be sending it into the next level. He's more of a position body defender. He's a guy that seems to always be in the right position. So you're really able to lock up that center position. And then, of course, you've already got your superstar in Zach LaVine, who's putting up a bucket with ease. And so if you're taking that, I think that the Bulls do have one of the more competitive lineups in the East among those other three teams. I think absolutely a more competitive lineup than Atlanta. But now I look at that Miami team. That's going to be your toughest competition, right? That Miami team is a team that you got Bam Adebayo. Now you got Victor Oladipo. You got Jimmy Butler. You still got Hero. That team is still constructed very well. And again, Chicago, Miami, that's going to be your toughest competition right now, other than Brooklyn. But to get you into that spot where I can call you a title contender, that'll be the Bulls' toughest competition. And so that's the scenario that I think those two teams are going to end up fighting it out for that fourth spot. So I can say that, yeah, the Bulls are going to be fighting for a title contention spot. The Bulls are going to be fighting for a spot where they're going to go out and end up a top 4 seed in the East. That's one scenario, of course, barring injury, barring anything catastrophic. But that's really the scenario that I see kind of most likely to happen. Now, here's the other scenario that I do have is in a situation where it's going to take a few games to gel, but say it takes a little bit longer to gel, right? Say it takes a little bit longer to gel. Bulls have to play in the play-in tournament. They have to try and figure out, what they're going to do. Now, if they do go through the play-in tournament route, they're going to be one of the best teams in it. That's just the fact. They're going to be one of the best teams in it. And I think that at this point, a play-in tournament, I mean, you're looking at teams like Boston, Indiana right now, and I think the Bulls definitely just got better than Indiana. We'll see what happens when Karis LeVert comes back there. But you're looking at teams like Boston, currently Miami, but I think Charlotte will end up being in there. Possibly the Knicks end up sliding in there. To me, the Bulls are still, on paper at least, one of the better teams constructed in that play-in tournament. So I see them coming out of that, getting that 8th playoff spot. Now, as it's sitting right now, you will be playing Philly. Who knows how that's kind of going to work out with Embiid being out, how long he's going to be out. Does Brooklyn take that top spot? And here's the interesting thing to me about getting in at that 8th spot. The Bulls are one of those teams that I think it's going to come together, but if it takes a longer time, they're one of those teams that teams aren't going to want to play in the first round, because you're going to look at that matchup and you're going to say, yeah, we got them in the first round, but they're really like a 4 seed. They just didn't get it together quick enough. And so now you're in the first round, you're playing a Philadelphia, you're playing a Brooklyn maybe. And to me, Brooklyn's biggest weakness is the fact that they don't have a big man that can dominate on the inside. And guess what we just got? A big man that can dominate on the inside. Now, am I going to come here, sit in here and tell you that the Chicago Bulls are going to beat Brooklyn in a 7-game series? I already said I'm not. But I will say that I think Chicago is the better coached team. I will say that Chicago is not a team devoid of talent right now. And so anything is possible in a situation where your best player is one of their biggest weaknesses. I just don't see Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan slowing down Nikola Vucevic. And if at any point in this situation, Lauri Markkanen catches fire, dog, now we talking. That's what I need from you, Larry. I need you to get me hype. Come on. We got to change this momentum. Let's get it going, Larry. I'm not playing with you. But even in a situation where the Bulls play Philly, the Bulls were competing with Philly tough, actually, when their team was at its worst. Now, Joel Embiid ends up dropping off 50 and you end up losing that game. But when your team was at its worst, the Chicago Bulls were competing with the Philadelphia 76ers. And now there's a little bit of talent in there. I could see a situation where they absolutely could knock Philly off. And again, that also depends on the health of Embiid going into a playoff series in that situation. Now that second scenario, that's more of the see red glasses Bulls dream scenario, but I think that first scenario is very realistic. I think that first scenario is a situation that the Bulls are going to be in, where they're fighting for a top 4 spot in the Eastern Conference for the rest of this season. Like I said, it's not going to take much to get there. If they go on a 3-game winning streak, they're right there. So I think that first scenario is really a interesting one to look at. I think that it's something that the Bulls can absolutely do. And so if at its core, at the basis of the question, are the Chicago Bulls going to be title contenders in 2021? Based on the fact that they have a coach with the pedigree that Billy Donovan has, and now they have talent on this team that I think is going to improve the talent around him, I will say that yes, the Chicago Bulls have an opportunity to be title contenders in 2021 if everything can come together and gel on paper. But as always, I want to know you guys' opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Will the Chicago Bulls be title contenders in 2021? Or are we heading for a first round loss? Is that kind of where the direction we're heading? I'll be down there talking with you in the comments as well. As always, it is your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bulls content. Click the links here or check the links in the description below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.